You saved my camera.
Things that should last, but we notice we fractured our strength when we spoke, and we wish precious moments away. Believer, tell me your secrets and stay there. I couldn't give you the ocean, and I couldn't take it away. But I have loved you when I didn't know how. But I had loved you. Who are you now? Who are you now? Restless, emotionless in our advances. We're stagnant and hoping for answers. I'd speak if I knew what to say.
This is such a much better song than the Rock into the Wind.
Open to brand new horizons. A balance, perceptive reliance on peaceful and delicate change. But I have loved you when I didn't know how. But I have loved you. Who are you now?
Play that guitar. All right, sorry. Trying to get things set up here and whatnot. I
That's
screwed
okay.
it up.
That's okay.
Welcome to Bottom Feeders Live with Nicole Palermo, who's going to
Hello.
talk about her experience on our little movie film. And of course, we have Jenn Ostromecki, associate producer, Steve Miller, writer-director, and myself,
Yay.
Scott Fitzgerald, writer-producer.
Hey, hey.
Welcome in. Come on in.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well as well.
Great. All right, Jen, take us out. Light this fire. Let's go.
Well, we already have a question from the comments. Should we just start from the comments?
Sure,
Or
why
what-
not?
Yeah. All right. So Gab the Gray asks, what's your favorite character besides Nicole to watch grow change throughout the movie? Well, I guess first of all, have you seen the film in its entirety?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
That would be really funny if I came on here and I was like, no, what are we doing
What
now?
movie?
Yeah, what's this about?
I just remember my parts.
Right, I fast forwarded through everything but mine. No, I watched the film.
So what was the question, Jen?
Favorite character besides Nicole to watch grow change throughout the movie?
Grow
I mean,
slash
I would
change.
def-
Yeah.
Yes.
I would definitely have to say the professor whose name is blanking me right now, but when he takes out the
Robertson?
key,
Professor Robertson?
yes, Professor Robertson, I loved watching his growth throughout because I think even having known what was going to happen, it was really fun to see how it played out and to see how that reveal happens, especially because it is a literal reveal.
Right.
He takes the teeth out, and it's just such this moment. And you're like, oh, wow, this guy who I was so convinced was one type of person is totally different this whole time. And so that was also fun to watch with other people who didn't know what was coming, who got to kind of experience that moment for the first time.
So did you watch the film? Did you have like a watch party or did you watch it solo?
I did. I had a little watch party, so I wasn't able to come up for the screening in Rochester. So my boyfriend and I watched here, and then we had friends who were watching at the same time. And we did like a little FaceTime moment to be able to watch with a bunch of people at once.
That's
which
cool.
was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, we did our own premiere.
Cool.
There you go.
That's fun. So I was going to ask, what was your favorite scene when you were filming? What was your favorite scene as portraying Nichole?
Oh man, I think the scene at the very end was probably my favorite to get to do, where, you know, she has all of these different, I guess, moments that she sort of hits where she's really upset and she's the victim, and, you know, everything has been done to her and she's done nothing wrong. And then she has that moment of John not wanting her back. And she's like, well, that's not how this is supposed to go, because I think in her mind, she's like, okay, so I'll get mad, he'll apologize, I'll be withholding and upset for a while, and then I'll forgive him, and then he'll shower me with love and attention again, like he always does, and then I'll feel good about myself. And so then when he doesn't follow the script in her mind, I think that, kind of flips everything on its head. And that was a lot of fun to be able to play with. Like, how angry is she? How hurt is she? What are those real emotions there? And then, oh, you're not following. Oh, my manipulation is not working. What must I do?
Yeah.
I really loved the little chin quiver that you had in that close up when
Honestly, my
John
favorite part of
walks
the
away.
film.
It
My
really is.
Absolute favorite part of the film.
It's like, oh yes, she nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was
'cause
great.
the stakes were high for her. In that moment. The stakes were high.
Yeah. But everything you describe, I mean, it just says like what a talented actress you are. Cause like I got that from your performance, and you're not saying anything, and you're just facial features. And I'm like, so I definitely followed that internal like conflict and that what she's going through. So it really came across beautifully on the screen. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to say hi to Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Thanks for watching.
And I'm going to throw something in here. Actually, Alex Packard threw in on the comments that you're the best damn actor in the whole thing, is what he said.
Oh, I thought he was talking about
thank you,
himself.
Alex.
No, he's talking about Nichole. And honestly, I have to tell you, whenever I talk to people about the film, other than, hey, this is great, and shake my hand, whatever, and we actually get into it and talk about it, every single person raves about your performance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really special. I like
Every single, I'm not even joking, every single person. And I couldn't agree more.
Cool.
Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. You're like, wow.
No, I think that's great. I mean, how does that make you feel that you have like all these adoring fans?
I mean, that's such a huge compliment to hear that, people are responding to what you're doing. And I think especially since I don't have the opportunity to perform so much anymore, I end up behind the camera a lot more. So it's really nice that when I am getting to go in front of the camera, that people are responding and resonating to that performance. And, it's so much fun for me. I love performing. So I'm appreciative that's how it makes people feel.
So what initially drew you to the project? So was it just the chance to...
We asked.
We asked.
We begged and pleaded.
Yeah, should I explain how my momager has been promoting
your
me for
momager?
years? Yeah. So my mom, Lynn Beef, she famously shows everybody my work and everything that I've ever done. So she, has been showing all of her coworkers for years and years and years, everything that I've ever created, everything that I've been in. Shout out, Mom. Thank you. And so she had showed one of her coworkers who happened to be married to Scott Fitzgerald, our producer here. And when they were in need of an actress to come in for this role, they had originally had somebody else just wasn't able to do it anymore, and they were sort of in need at the last minute. Luckily, Scott's wife Kelly thought of me because she has seen many a film of mine, I'm sure, or many a video clip at work. So she thought of me immediately, and then Scott and Steve reached out.
And it's kind of funny because going back years now, in any of the short films that I was doing, and I think you were going to NYU at the time, right? Didn't you go to NYU?
Yeah, I did.
So I think you were in school, but it was always like, you should talk to Nichole. You should talk to Lynn's daughter because she's like crushing it. She's like awesome, this amazing actor, and you should, I was like, yeah, whatever. You know how it is whenever anyone tells you like, oh, you got to talk to this guy, and you're like, yeah, okay. and sure enough, it was like, oh yeah. At that point, it was kind of like, anybody like, oh, the garbage man has someone that they know. And it's like, oh yeah. But it just so happens that then, she sent me the link to your website, and I was like, oh yeah, no, she looks exactly like what Nichole might look like. And we started looking at some of the clips and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, please, this would be awesome. Plus there was that personal connection. So we knew that, you wouldn't run away screaming, going, who the hell are these freaks? And so it was just such a cool thing. And then when we saw the audition, we were like, oh yes, no, this is perfect. I wonder if I could, I know I still have it. I wonder if I could find it and play it. Talks amongst yourselves.
Okay. Okay, we will.
Well, thank you.
Well, and then I just happened to have the same name as the character. So
Right,
it was,
right.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Fate.
I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I can't imagine anyone else in that role at all. Not at all.
Yep.
No.
Anyways, go ahead, Jen.
So you talked about your favorite scene and the character development. What about the most challenging scene for you to film?
Ooh, I mean, I think a lot of well, it's funny because the favorite scene also kind of is the most challenging one where, I mean, she is really manipulative, and I don't think that she means to be necessarily, and that's something that I really wanted to bring humanity to the character in that way, is because she does not treat people well, but I think it's because she's so wrapped up in her own BS that she's just not really noticing what other people are going through and what they're dealing with, but she's so manipulative towards John, and I think it was kind of hard at times, especially for that ending scene, to be like, okay, what does she think is happening here versus, what we as the outside observers see happening? Like, what is she really feeling? What does she really think is happening? Because there are those people who just are very wrapped up in themselves, and they may not realize that what they're doing affects other people. And I think that she really has that issue. And so, whenever you play a character, I feel like you need to be on their team, even if they're the villain or they're the bad person or they're making choices that you would not make. But you need to understand where they're coming from to be able to portray them. And sort of understanding like what she thought was happening versus maybe what I thought watching was happening was challenging at times.
And how did you go about preparing to be Nichole? Like, what kind of work did you do to kind of like flesh her out as a pure person? Like, what do you do as an actor? Do you have like a method for that?
I mean, not so much a method, but more so just, really going through the story and trying to understand why is she saying this, or why is she doing this, or what is running through her mind at this moment. I say this to everyone everywhere who will listen. I watch a lot of Real Housewives of every single city. So I think those women have given me a lot of inspiration as well into the look into a narcissist. So I have, no shortage of seeing those women interact all the time. So I think, just kind of like trying to place myself in the position of, okay, what if I was a person who didn't care what anybody else was going through or what anybody else thought really, and only cared about how things affected me. Which is not, I think that we can all sort of imagine worlds in which we're like, oh, I don't have to worry about anything else besides my own wants and needs. Okay, great. I can play that. So, there's something that was fun about doing that as well.
Sure.
Because you're like, oh, I can live in this fantasy world of this person who doesn't care about others.
That's very
Which
similar
not
to
a
what
good place
Alex
to
said
live.
too
Yeah.
about his character. You'd see
Yeah.
his character's an ass, and he kind of, it was kind of fun to play it.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I think that's something that you hear a lot from people who play villains all the time, is that there's something that's so interesting about playing a character who's wrong,
Mhm.
because they don't understand that they're wrong. Okay, so why don't they understand that they're wrong? Like, what is going on in their own mind or their own situation that they think that they are, like, everybody's the protagonist of their own story. So why does this
Yeah.
person think that they're the protagonist of their story?
Yep, exactly.
Even if they're not.
Well, given that Nichole she can be kind of considered the villain. Is that fair?
I mean, yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, sure.
Well, like she's the most, she's tough. But so like with her personality, would you say there's like anything that you like any bits of you that you put in to soften her? Like how did you kind of like, I know you said you were thinking about how to, give her like that humanity, but was there anything that you're like trying to like reach into, your experience or anything to give her like that softness? Because there are some
I
like
think that,
moments.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I cut
No,
you off.
that was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think just like seeing everything, like I think all of her interactions with John are not so much about what they have or could have now. It's so much more about how she felt as a teenager. And I think that can be an easy place to find softness of like, oh, somebody who really doesn't know very much about the world, who doesn't know very much about themselves. They are a teenager. They know that, this love that they had in high school made them feel great. And so that she's trying to kind of like recapture that because her life has gotten so messy and complicated and is, not great now. So there's sort of that innocence of like her teenage boyfriend that she's sort of trying to get back somehow. So I think those are some of the moments where you can feel the softness of her character in that, maybe when she was a teenager, I don't think that she was like intentionally manipulative, but I think at this age, and I still don't think it's necessarily intentional, but she's not doing it's not kind how she's treating John or how she's, treating Nigel's family. It's just, there's a lot going on that she's choosing to ignore. But I think if you kind of break it down to, okay, what would a 16-year-old feel when they're in love and there's a lot going on and they're going to go off to school and they don't know what that means, and sort of like all of those different questions that you kind of have as a kid, I think that that's sort of where you can find some moments of understanding with her of like, oh, okay, this is what she just wants to be able to like be in high school again and have everything taken care of for her. But that's just not a reality when you're an adult.
No, it is not.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So one of the things that I had asked some of the other people, and that thing that just fascinates me is, so how do you memorize lines? Do you have like a method to go and memorize your lines? And because for me, I think that would stress me out to like learn all those lines at once and then deliver them. So like, do you have any tips or tricks that you use?
I mean, just doing them out loud a bunch of times, I think is like sort of the only tip or trick that I have found really works for me is, if you have someone to run them with or just running them to yourself, being able to get familiar with like those words coming out of your mouth is really helpful. For me, I have always I can like sort of think about where it is on the page sometimes if I'm really lost, but I hear most people don't do that. So that helps me to sort of like visualize the script in my mind. But yeah, I think just doing it out loud a lot. If you're, if you do have somebody who's willing to just sit there and run a bunch of lines with you, amazing. Hold on to that person, because then it can be
Are you
really
talking about
helpful.
somebody in particular?
Yes, my boyfriend is wonderful with running lines with me. I do it with him as well, but I can be much lazier when it comes to wanting to run things out loud, and he's the one who always is like, "Well, it will be helpful for you if you do these out loud before you go film."
Well,
And I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, I guess so."
give him a big thank you from us.
You want?
I will. I'll give him a huge thank you.
I'm gonna play your audition.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nicole Palermo reading for Nicole.
Can we see it?
Oh, no, everybody else can.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah.
Wait, Nicole, wait. Does this mean that we're getting back together?
Why does this have to mean anything? Can't we just fuck for old time's sake?
Jesus, Nicole, I care about you. I don't want just some quick throwaway screw. I want you.
We can't just get back together. Christ, it's been 6 years, John. We're different people. I'm just really pissed at Nigel. It's revenge sex. Can you deal with that?
No, not really. I've got feelings here.
It's not about feelings. And it's not about a relationship. We had some good times, sure. But I've changed. Maybe you haven't. That's what this is, isn't it? 6 years later and still the same old John. I bet you're still duct taping yourself to lawn chairs and jumping off into the pool.
Hey, my best time is close to a world record.
I almost love you, John.
All right, that was really good. Very cool.
So Nicole, what did Mominger say about the film?
She had so much fun. She got to go to the premiere.
Oh, she
in
did.
my place.
She did.
Yes,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't. Scott, did you see her?
I didn't, but Kelly told me that she was
okay,
there, and I was
okay.
like, "Oh, you should have."
I would
But
have
it was
loved
crazy.
to have met her.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
that's
Me
too
too.
bad.
I said, "Why didn't you introduce me?" She's like, "You were running around."
Oh no. Okay.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So she posed with the movie poster pointing to my name.
Nice.
And she went with a good friend of hers, and they had a really fun time. So
Good.
she said that she looked away during the sex scene, but otherwise she was all in.
That's funny.
Oh, she's watching on Instagram, by the way.
Paolo
yeah.
said
She
he
says
met
hello.
her.
Hi.
So Paolo is on. So how was it working with Paolo? Dish.
Paula was great to work with. I mean, I think the first day we were doing, I can't remember which scene we did first. I think we did the scene where we're like running into the house.
Yep.
And then I storm out really angry. And so he kept saying a bunch of stuff to like make me angry to prep inside of the
Oh,
house.
gosh.
And I was like, wow, what a strange first impression of somebody. That
That was actually just him.
Right.
He was just being himself.
Maybe he wasn't doing a moment before. No, but he was great to work with. You know, we did a lot of like prep before every single scene. He always made me feel comfortable to work with. And, you know, we just got to, I mean, he was on set so much more than I was. And so it was kind of nice to have somebody there, especially when we came and did, since we did, you know, shooting days, not sequentially for me. It was great to have, you know, somebody who had sort of like been there and would tell me a little bit about like, this is what we did yesterday. This is where everybody's coming from. This is what we're doing next. And I would be like, oh, I just popped in today. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't think about that often, but when I think about how we shot Bottom Feeders, the way we shot exteriors, you know, in one block, and then 6 months later the interiors, and how it was just all out of place. That makes your performance that much more impressive to me, because I didn't even consider about that. You know, that's crazy.
It was kind of funny. I remember the first day too. I got in on a flight like that morning and went straight to
Yeah, we
set.
did.
So,
we had problems with the flight, didn't we?
No, she had an audition.
I had like I had a callback or something,
Oh,
and then I had to change it.
right.
But we had a problem with the flight like on the way back, maybe.
Yeah, there was something
there.
funky. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something bizarre, but yeah, the one on the way there was my problem. So I just made it work, and so I came like ready to just go on, which is basically exactly what we did.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
exactly what you did.
Kind of a crazy, yeah.
So how was
Just
it
sort of got there
shooting
and
it
started.
with so much time in between? Like, how did you like get back into the role and that framework? Like, was that hard or was it just like easy or just like this?
It was surprisingly easy. I thought it was going to be really hard because I was so concerned that like my hair was going to be wrong or something was going to be wrong or I was not going to bring the right clothes because I wasn't, staying at home and then just coming over. I like had to pack everything. And I was really concerned about all of that. But then when I revisited the script, it was really easy to just jump back in. Like I just felt like I knew exactly who she was. And I had so much familiarity with, all of the scenes at that point. And from doing so many shoot days before, it just felt kind of seamless to go right back in. And shockingly, watching it, I couldn't even tell, even though I knew that it was at different times. So, continuity really, really did their job on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah. We got
pretty
really
startling.
lucky with that whole thing.
Yeah, I know, it's a great
do we
job.
want to do a shout out for our
Yeah.
script supervisors?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Scott.
Wesley Swanson III and Lauren Kaler. Both of them just were phenomenal. Lauren, I mean, she never did it before.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get Wesley's schedule didn't work out for us for the second the second half of the shoot. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. And Wesley came and got her going. He trained her like during the break. They got together a few times and he trained her on how to do it. And she was just all over that. She owned it. I was like, wow.
She really did. She was great.
Yeah. So that was thank God for that. It was, excuse me.
He's dying.
I'm getting all,
Do I need to come in there?
Yes. CPR. When we were putting this together, there were two things where I was like, I am not backing down on these two things. We need a good audio person and we need a script supervisor. Everything else we can probably negotiate. But those two things I'm not, if we can't get them, we're not
It's
doing
not
this.
like I was arguing with
No,
you.
I was arguing with myself. But that's where I was like, I'm not going to back down. There was nobody asking me to back down at all. But
Right.
I had a question, but
and out it
you
went.
disrupted my train of thought.
I was blathering. I apologize.
I was
That's what
like, I
do.
had a good one. It was like right here, and I'm like,
Do you though? Did you?
So
I
when
mean, I thought it was good.
when we wrapped, when were you done? Because you were done before.
She was done a day or two before.
Before our last
I was
day.
I was done a day or two before because I was staying in Rochester and there was a chance my flight could get canceled back, but it hadn't quite reached that level of shutdown yet.
Yeah.
So I was pretty confident I would get back. And then I think maybe 2 or 3 days later is when everything really shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our last day of shooting was
The day before.
yeah February March 13th, Friday, March 13th. And it was like we're on set with Jeremy London and we're seeing news that, this production is shutting down in LA and and New York City is shutting down. And we're like, oh my God, this is insane. What?
Yeah, it was crazy to have just finished it and then just go right into that.
Yeah. So you going back to New York City, which was pretty much the epicenter of it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like going back into it, and how did that affect your job and everything that you were working on at the time?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. So we were actually watching the NBA one night. And so that was the night that the NBA got shut down because Rudy Gobert tested positive. And when we saw that the NBA was shut down, sorry, my boyfriend's laughing at me. But when we saw that the NBA was shut down, we were like, oh, this is going to be a really big deal. We need to go straight to the grocery store. And so it was only us and a bunch of other guys at the grocery store. So we assumed that it was pretty much everyone from our building who was watching the NBA at that moment had like run across the street to the grocery store. And so we got a good amount of stuff before everything went. but then pretty quickly after that, that was when everything was, you know, there was like no toilet paper here, there's no hand sanitizer, there were no paper towels. And so I pretty immediately started volunteering with an organization called Invisible Hands. Check them out at invisiblehandsdeliver.org. They are great. So it was just like a grassroots organization that was made up of some people in their 20s who wanted to be able to help people who were elderly or who wouldn't be able to go out to the grocery store without being high risk.
Wow.
So anybody who was immunocompromised, anybody who wasn't going to be able to go out for themselves. So we just started delivering food to all of these people. So you would like get a grocery order, then you would go shopping for that person, then you would bring it and drop it at their door. And then they would open it. So then you were never like exchanging anything or touching one another. They would like slip money under the door if they needed to. So, you know, I work in production normally. So we do tons and tons of shoots every single month, primarily like commercial shoots. And so everything was immediately shut down. So I just had all this time to be able to help. And I would have, you know, I would work a little bit from home for part of the day. And then I would, you know, go deliver with this organization for, you know, the rest of the time for the most part.
That's amazing. That's really, really, I have to admit that my gut reaction is not like, ooh, how can I go out and help people? You know, as much as I would love for that to be my reaction, it's just not. I mean, eventually I'll go, oh yeah, I should probably help. But I'm really amazed by people like you who the first thing is, how can I go out and help people? I mean, that's just, that's bravo or brava. Sorry.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great way to feel useful at a time when a lot of, you know, people were really stuck. And then we actually ended up, my boyfriend's from Colorado. And so we went and stayed with his family for a couple of months actually. And we continued to do like food service help there. We helped at a local church where they would just package up food for people. People would come in their car, you'd give them a whole box of food, of essentials and necessities that they needed. And then they'd drive off, which was great. So just lots of like low contact ways to help.
Yeah.
I remembered my question.
Okay, bust out.
What I wanted to ask you was, so during that time, between the two shoots for the movie, did you have any other projects that you were working on? And like, I didn't know if that like conflicted with your schedule or if that made like it harder to kind of get into headspace. I know you said it was pretty easy, but
I am trying to remember what I did during that time. I definitely was producing some other projects, like through work. And I think I had either produced a short, excuse me, either right before or right after that first round, but I can't really remember. In terms of performing, I don't think I did much. I might have done a couple of play readings through this theater company I work with, but other than that, sorry, I'm going to cough again.
So you primarily do like production stuff now. Is that correct?
Yeah, plug yourself.
Yeah.
So I have a small company that my friend from college and I started together called Talking Back Pictures. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and our website, talkingbackpictures.com. So that's where I do the most of my, sorry, I've got like something in my throat. So that's where I do a lot of web content, and we're producing a short that we're filming in July. Actually, I will also be the COVID compliance officer on that, since I'm trained in that field now as well. And then for, you know, my like pay the bills job, I work in commercial production, primarily photo and video shoots out of Soho.
Nice.
What are you on set, or what are you doing for that? You're producing?
No, so I primarily like manage the studio, so do a lot of the like logistics of getting people to and from every single shoot, handling all the billing for every shoot, overseeing like post-production. So I'm usually
That's
the
awesome.
offsite person who's like kind of doing all the,
Yeah.
finagling.
But that finagling, that training, that day in, day out makes going to make you just a kick-ass producer when you finally
I hope so.
start doing your own stuff. That's
I definitely hope so.
That's the kind of real world experience that so many people are just, that kick and scream for. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's the, getting used to a lot of spreadsheets and
Yeah, the real fun stuff.
Yes, haggling with people about equipment costs, all the fun stuff like that.
Like I said, that is if that's not the perfect example of what a producer has to do, to go and get all the gear and make sure that you're not blowing your entire budget on a camera or something.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that is a huge part of my job. And just making sure people get everything on time. We work with a lot of clients who have really strict deadlines. So just making sure that people are receiving everything that they need, when they need it, how they need it. And, just trying to make everything as smooth as possible for everybody else is big part of the producer role.
What are you doing for fun in New York City? I mean, can you do anything for fun besides like going for a run or something? I mean, what?
We go to the movies a good amount now because movies are back to 40% capacity.
Oh, is it back to? Is it 48% now? I missed that upgrade from 33.
I don't know what it is, but
it's 40 here.
But there's not a ton of new films out.
Yeah, there's like nothing to watch.
Yeah, there's been some. So I've also seen, some like anniversary films that have come out.
Yeah.
So like I saw Top Gun for the first time ever in theaters like 2 weeks ago.
Great movie to see in theaters.
Yeah, that was fun. I was like, oh, okay, I see why this is a classic. Hopefully we are looking forward to more live stuff coming back. I mean, I really miss live theater and shows. We used to go to a lot of live theater. So it's, I'm very sick of Zoom theater. It's so different than the live experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parks to go to. That's
about it.
That's fun now. Yeah.
Well, if Loose Screw Productions were to put out another film, what kind of film would you like to see them make? Comedy, drama, sci-fi?
I mean, I'm always a really big fan of comedy. I do like dramas, but I tend to watch a lot more comedy. So my vote would be for a comedy. But I don't know what kind of comedy. It would really depend on, I guess, what's percolating right now. Are there some upcoming productions?
We're in the midst of trying to figure that out.
We're in the percolating stage right now.
Discussion.
Oh, great.
Would you come back? Would you come back to Rochester for a shoot to be in a movie?
Of course. I always have a free place to stay, which is great. So I'm easy to house. And then, I get to spend time with my mom and my stepmom, which is really nice. And it's a nice little visit to come back.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
I would want to know, like, what kind of role would you, because like you said, you don't do a lot of on-camera stuff now. What kind of role excites you? Like, what's something that you really want to dig your teeth into?
Oh man. I mean, I really enjoy doing, like I said, not necessarily being the protagonist of the story. I like somebody who thinks that they're the protagonist of their own story, but somebody who's just a little bit, not always necessarily the villain either, but just someone who is not like not the main person who's learning and growing, but people off to the side who are not learning and growing.
A good supporting, the plucky
types.
comic relief or
exactly,
like
some comic relief, some somebody who maybe is giving bad advice to the lead frequently. I think a lot about Krista Miller's character in Scrubs, and I've been watching a lot of Cougar Town lately, but she always is very much not the lead, but she is the person off to the side who's giving the lead bad advice.
Nicole
and is
Palermo
making
as the
things more
snarky
difficult.
barista.
Exactly. Yeah, those are the types of roles that I have a lot of fun with.
Nice.
Cool.
Who inspires you? Like, somebody that we would know, film or TV.
Hey, don't tell us anybody we don't know.
I mean,
Fuck that.
somebody
Of
that the
course.
audience would know, not like a somebody in local theater or whatever, but obviously somebody we would know.
Sure. I mean, I always say Mindy Kaling. She's one of my
she's awesome.
all-time
Mindy.
favorites, and how she's just created so many hilarious stories, incredible characters, both for herself and for other people. And she really she kind of created this comedic type that I don't really think I saw before. She is a great example of somebody who actually is playing the protagonist, but often is wrong. She often, I think that the types of characters that she creates and plays would be normally the side character for something, because they're not the most reliable narrator. And yet I love that she puts herself then in the leading role of, no, I'm not a reliable narrator. And that's what's going to be fun about watching this show, is that
That's
everybody
great.
else is constantly telling the lead, like, you're on one, you've lost it. And I think that that's something that's really, really fun about her comedy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like Mindy Kaling, and the Mindy Project was just like this huge thing where I just love like her delivery too. And it's just like, she's doing comedy and you're laughing, but her character really believes it. And so for her to deliver it that way,
she really believes herself.
Yeah. So you could see yourself doing something like that, like being a character who is just like completely wrong, but really believes in it and has like that comedic effect.
Yes, totally. Or something of like like anything that's sort of the Tina Fey style, but then that has spun off into other shows, such as Girls Five Eva, I just watched all the way through, which was fantastic, and is created by I'm blanking on her name right now, Meredith Scardino, I believe, who was a writer on 30 Rock, and it has very much that sensibility of these like wacky, ridiculous people.
Yeah.
But is in a different form, and it's just a lot of fun. Those characters who are just like who thinks of this? What is this situation that you've gotten yourself into?
Yeah, I love Rachel Bloom from my
She's
crazy
great,
my crazy ex-girlfriend.
Oh, right.
She is just brilliant. I love, you watch that and you're like, and it's the same feeling. It's like, who are these people that write this stuff? It's the whole time you're like, oh my God, I wish I could write that.
Right.
I want to write that.
It's just, it's funny, but it's endearing and it like means something. But then you're like, you are an insane person. And yet I'm watching you as my protagonist and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
What else you got, Jen?
I don't have anything else except for, I don't know. Well, I was going to ask what other work are you working on? But we already kind of covered that with, production and stuff like that. So I was going to lead off with that.
And you said July you're shooting your short?
Yeah. What's the short about?
Yeah. So we have a short that we're producing. So I won't give too much away, but I'm producing it. It was co-written by two other NYU grads, and it's going to be directed by one of them as well. And it's about two adult women who are going to therapy together to work on their friendship.
Nice.
So it's a bit of like a dramedy. Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
But yeah, we are looking forward to it. We're shooting in Brooklyn in like mid-July.
Great.
What are your plans for festivals?
Yeah, so we'll do festival circuit with it, and then, kind of see where it goes from there. But yeah, the goal, of course, in the pre-production goal, it's like, we just need to get to finish.
Yeah.
Really.
And then, and then festivals from there.
Yeah. We understand.
Yeah, because we really
Yeah.
we really missed the festival boat, and I guess that's okay now, sort of. But I still would like to see how it played at festivals, and we still
Totally.
can still probably do that if as long as it's not an online festival and it's an in-person, live festival, we can, according to our distribution contract, we can do that. They just don't want us to put it online so that's competing with, whatever we got going on.
Gotcha.
Prime and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I think that must be such a hard thing to have, the process in which it normally would have gone through festivals would have been last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure the timing of that is just kind of crazy to then figure out where to pivot next.
Yeah, it was a tough call. I really, really wanted to see it in some festivals, but we'll see. There's still a chance.
Are you guys still doing the French one, the Cannes?
So that's different.
That's a film market.
It's
That's
a film
film market.
Yes, we are being. It's it's literally that. It's a market.
Okay.
It's also a festival at the same time, but
Okay.
our film is not in the festival.
I misunderstood.
And my mom really got that one screwed up too, because she's told a bunch of people that we're in the con film.
Yeah, we're in the
festival.
con film.
Yeah, I was under that impression.
We're playing in a really small tent somewhere down the street on an off day. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe we'll get picked up and be like really big in Liechtenstein or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't really care where it happens as long as it happens.
Bottom Feeders is #1 in Greece.
Greece, New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greece, New York. Gates loves us.
All right.
Well, I guess we've covered all the bases,
Yeah.
and we definitely I enjoyed getting to talk with you again. It's always, It's always a lot of fun, and I'm always loving hearing what you're up to.
Yeah, me too.
So-
Agreed.
And I was really happy that I got to meet you.
Yeah. So nice to meet you, and thank you all for having me. It was nice to chat about this.
Thanks,
So
Nicole.
a quick thing about Jenn here. She and Steve go back a long way, and
Yeah.
right? You guys go back a few
we
years
worked together. Yeah.
worked together, and and so Jenn was the one who, it was her cousin Melissa, whose house that we shot in the basement for, and down by the lake.
Yeah.
She put us in touch with the graphic artist who did all the graphics work for the film. She put us in touch with a couple of the people that provided music for the movie. So she really, whether she realizes it or not, was a huge part of a lot of happy accidents that we had for this movie come together. So
Absolutely.
we're really happy that she's back and she got to, talk to you and do this, because without her, I really don't think a lot of the things that, like, the movie probably wouldn't have happened, or at least not happened the way it did, as good as it is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think it still would have happened, but I really appreciate you saying all those nice things.
Yeah, it's the importance of a good producer. There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she didn't even know it. We're like, yeah, we're going to give you a producer credit. And she's like, what?
Yes.
Why?
What's that? Well, cool.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you
thank
for your
you.
performance. It was, like I said, some of my favorite parts of the film. All you.
Good.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear it.
One of the reviews actually says, we're just here for Nicole Palermo.
I think that was your boyfriend. though.
That was who?
I think that was your boyfriend, maybe.
I don't
Oh,
know.
maybe I'll-
The username was Nicole Palermo fan.
Maybe it was your mom. Sounds good.
So funny.
All right. So,
All right.
so what should we?
You gonna play us out?
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
We'll play this one. This is no, not that one.
That was the intro music.
Yeah, that was the intro music.
We need-
Here we go.
Something different.
There we go.
All right. Thank you. We'll see ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Nicole.
Bye.
Forever we could be together.